Hey guys, Mike here from simplenursing.com, and right now we're going to go into what you need to do and what you need to avoid when taking comprehensive exams. Now, whether that's the HESI or whether your school uses ATI or whether you're even preparing for just the final exam, we're going to go right into it right now. So you have a big comprehensive test coming up. Most schools use HESI as this comprehensive test. Now guys, comprehensive tests and preparing for them, it's very stressful. You know, some students even get ulcers inside their stomachs and people pulling their hair out, and usually they give you about 14 to 7 days to prepare for all of this. And I kind of liken it to being in like a grocery store contest. Have you guys ever seen those? When you're given a basket and you're like, hey, here's 5 minutes, go grab as much stuff as you can inside that grocery store, and it's all for free. So it's like you're running down the hallway, just, all the aisles, just piling things into your basket. And that's the same exact way that we feel when we're going into comprehensive tests. Usually we're piling information into our brain, we're staying up really late, and usually we don't know where to start. So just relax. In this next 10 minutes, I'm going to decrease your stress. We're going to have an accurate plan from getting you to stressed out to passing your HESI, passing your ATI, and even passing your final. So take a deep breath and relax, because the same plan that I'm going to show you right now has been successfully used on thousands of students. You guys, we have helped over 40,000 students pass their exams, get more simplified answers, and organize it in their brain. Because honestly, going to school and passing exams is really not rocket science. You guys, it's almost like going to the gym and having a goal to lose weight or to get stronger. See, I used to be a personal trainer for about 7 years, and if you go into the gym, don't know how to work out, don't know what your goals really are, and you don't have a plan to get from point A to point B, which are your goals. I see this in nursing school all the time. Your instructors tell you to study and study and study, and it's like you really don't know how to study. And that's what really is the most frustrating part. Pump the iron! Do it now! Do it faster! Push it! But, instructor, I really don't have a plan or know how to study. I don't care. You have the books. Now push it. Push it into your brain. Faster. You have everything you need to pass. But do you really think you really have everything you need to pass? It's almost like I take a pile of papers and just dump it into the middle of your living room and say, hey, you go figure it out. You need to know this by 7 days from now. They don't give you any filing cabinets. They don't give you any filing system and no tricks to help you remember these. So guys, let's get into exactly what you need to do to pass that HESI and exactly the filing cabinet tricks that you definitely need to know, not only for your HESI or ATI, but also for your NCLEX, as well as going on for future education endeavors like your MSN or even your PhD. You need to know how to study for comprehensive exams. So let's get into it real quick. Now let's go into step number 1. Where are we going to focus our time and our efforts? It's a comprehensive test. We have books on books on books. We have the entire last semester that we probably have to take a test on. Exactly the same thing we do with HESI, ATI, and if your nursing school was like my nursing school, you test on everything on your final exam. So instead of focusing on things that you already know and kind of have a gist of, and you've done pretty well in the past, I want you guys to focus on the top 3 most difficult areas of the semester. Now, for example, if we took a HESI, or if we're going to take an ATI exam, we have to cover almost everything. Now, if you can see my board, it says Med-Surg, Pharmacology, Pediatrics, OB, and psychiatric. Usually these are the main topics that they love to test you on with HESI and ATI. This even works for your NCLEX as well. Usually you're not going to get questions like community health or those kind of classes you take in nursing school. But this is the main stuff. So from each topic, from this list, I want you guys to pick out the top 3 that you're having struggles with. Now, if you're taking your final exam, let me move you over here. We're going to dilate it in a little bit further here. I want you to decide what are the top 3 from each section that you circled. So for me, it was med-surg, OB, as well as psychiatric. You guys see, I worked in the hospital when I was going to nursing school. I used to be a medic for 9 years, and I actually worked in a pediatric hospital. I was around a lot of pharmacology a lot of time. So for me, it really wasn't a big stressor. OB, psychiatric, and a little bit of med-surg, yes. I didn't know a whole lot, especially for my ATI exams. I didn't use the HESI, and I even forgot an S here. The HE, it's the HESI. There you go. So for your exams, you want to delegate and designate the top 3. So let's break these down even further. So med-surg, we have a cardiac, respiratory, let's say, those are lungs, and let's say it's neuro. Let's say those are our top 3 that we struggle with most, okay? Let's say with OB, we have labor, all right? We have mom assessment. And let's say we have prenatal that we're really struggling with. For psychiatric, let's say it's pharmacology psych. Everyone struggles with pharmacology psych. Okay? That's a generalization, but usually everyone struggles with pharmacology psych. Let's do maybe personality disorders. Whatever it is, guys, whatever the top 3 of your top 3, that's what we're focusing on. It can be really anything. Usually these are my top 3 that I get requests for. Maybe the 4th one is probably going to be renal or GI or I don't know. But if you guys have a pen and paper, please write this out. You're going to focus on your top 3 most difficult areas. Usually it's one of these if you're taking the HESI or ATI. Now, let's just say you're taking med-surg course. Then we're just going to cut straight to the chase into med-surg. Now, once you picked out your top 3, we're going to designate the sub-top 3. And you're going to pick out which areas you struggle with most. Now, once we have that figured out, or let's say that you're like, I don't really know. I have like 10 areas in med-surg alone that I need help with. That's okay. That's why we have step 2. So if you have this figured out, fantastic. If you don't, let's go into step 2. All right, guys, step number 2, numero dos. We're going to print out a calendar. Print out a calendar, and now is time to make the plan. We know what we need to focus on. Now it's time to actually implement the plan here. So hopefully you can read my writing. I'm going to zoom you in a little bit. But usually for a HESI, usually for an ATI exam, we're given like 2 weeks. Now, if you're in an accelerated program, you're probably given 7 days, maybe even a weekend, which is no time to prepare at all. It's like you're running through that grocery store, just grabbing stuff, you know, survival of the fittest kind of thing. So guys, I recommend if you have 2 weeks, if you have the time, 4 to 6 days of studying for your HESI for your ATI exams. Now, this 4 to 6 days per week, out of 14 days, you'll get anywhere between 8 to 12 actual study days. And I'll show you how to implement the study days. But really, the first things first, get a calendar. I want you to put on the date it is today, as well as when the test day is. And then you're going to get a piece of, You're going to get a red marker or a pen, and you get to cross them out diagonally. Now, please do it diagonally because we're crossing out our days into AM sessions as well as PM sessions, which I'm going to explain real quick. Now, for your AM session, the reason I break up your day into AM and PM is because you do not want to fatigue your brain. Usually students who study for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours at a time, which is probably what you were doing, because your teacher just says, lift the weights, study, do it faster. You guys, it doesn't make any sense to study, because usually studies have shown that you only remember stuff on the borders of your study time. When you start and finish, we usually zone out and lose everything in the middle. So let's break up our days. We're going to do 3 hours of studying in the morning. So here is our AM session. Number 3 is our PM session, and I'll show you how that works out later. But for your AM session, you're doing 3 hours of questions. Now, AM, I love questions in the morning because your mind is very, very fruitful. You have a clean slate. The best thing that you can do in the morning is take action. Start taking action and being productive. The absolute worst thing you can do in the morning is be reactive and responding to things instead of being action taker and moving forward. For example, you grab your phone, and I do it all the time, and you look through Facebook, or you look through Instagram, or you start texting and calling people, right? Or you turn on the morning news, and now you're reacting and internalizing things instead of being proactive and taking action. So right when you wake up, if you really seriously want to do well on your exam, listen to this, okay? So 3 hours. For 3 hours, this is how you break up your first AM session. You're going to have, within 1 hour here, now listen closely, please. All right? You're going to break up your hour. The first 20 minutes is your question time. You're going to take 20 questions in 20 minutes. And you're probably telling yourself, that's nothing, Mike. It takes me like 10 seconds to take a question. Now, if you did that, and you're one of those fast test takers, I want to strangle you. Because I was a slow test taker. I was also an anxious test taker. So what I recommend is stress yourself out in these 20 minutes. 20 questions in 20 minutes. Really hit it hard, especially if you have test anxiety. Now, if you suffer from really bad test anxiety, I'd recommend playing music. Or I even recommended to one student who, even though they were separated in a different room and had test modification, she still had really bad test anxiety. So this is what I recommended for her. Recommended that when she has her book and she's taking questions, that she not only listen to really loud, disturbing music that she does not like, because this is going to distract her. Also take questions as you hop on one foot or balance on one foot. Whoa, okay? It's also going to distract you. Now you're probably telling yourself, Mike, that's crazy, that's nonsense. But it works. And the reason I say this, to battle your test anxiety, yes, you can take drugs, you can take Ativan, or you can take a beta blocker, but really, you really want to distract yourself as much as you can. You want to get yourself out of your comfort zone when you practice Because when it comes to the test day and it's quiet and you've been practicing 20 questions in 20 minutes and you're not balanced on one foot, your anxiety all of a sudden comes down lower and you're able to concentrate better. Isn't that weird? Exactly. So we're trying to, it's almost like going to the gym. You want to lift more weights and heavier weights before you get to the competition so that the competition's a little bit easier. All right? So I'm sorry for that spiel if you don't have any test anxiety at all. So we're doing 20 minutes, 20 questions, okay? Let me do 20 questions in 20 minutes, all right? Now, what do you do for the last 40 minutes of that hour? Here's what you do. You are going to get a list of your wrong answers. So, you want to type or write with a pencil a list of your wrong answers. Now, I don't mean write out word for word your answers and the question. I want you to write out the topics that you missed. For example, you're taking, let's say, a cardiac med-surg practice exam from, let's say, the Lippincott book or from a Saunders book. And let's say it's cardiac med-surg, it's talking about MIs. And you're really just horrible at MIs and cardiovascular disease and CAD and all the drugs. Then I want you to write down the specific topics that you really missed, because at the end of the day, I'm going to bring you in here, after 3 hours, you're going to have accomplished 3 of these. So if I do my math correctly, you have 2, 4, 6. You have accomplished 60 questions. Not only have you accomplished 60 questions, now you have a specific list of very specific topics that you have outlined for yourself on what I specifically don't know. Now, this becomes of crucial importance because you can waste a lot of time in your nursing books studying things that you already know or confusing yourself with things that you don't know. So I'm going to show you exactly in step number 3, your PM session, how to get that information in your brain with less study time. So let's do this right now. Okay, now we make it to step number 3. The main goal in step number 3 is to actually condense content onto one piece of paper. We've already taken test questions in the morning. Now it's your PM session, which should last about 3 hours, 3 to 4, depending on you. Now, in this entire day, it should be about 6 to 7 hours of studying, and you're like, oh my gosh, nursing school. But it's okay. We're moving forward. We have a plan. And really, our only main goal is to pass the HESI, pass the ATI exam, or pass the finals. Because guys, I honestly can say that I've coached a lot of nursing students, thousands of them. And one of the main problems with the HESI is they did not stick to a plan. At least the students that failed, they didn't really have a contextualized plan that was going to get them from point A to point B. So please follow me and listen to me when I say you only have to pass this one exit exam, especially for the NCLEX. This is really the same way that we study for the NCLEX. We condense our days and we condense information that we don't know. It's almost like sharpening a sword. So follow me when I say we're condensing information. We're splitting your day up into 2. And that's why I always recommend getting your calendar like this. 2 parts in the day. I am your coach, guys. I am your expert mountain climber. Follow me up the mountain. If you veer off and fall off the cliff, that's on you. Because honestly, I'm trying to hoist you up and lead you here. All you need to do is follow me. So this is how we do it. We get the topics, and now we have a list of topics that we're really going to focus on in the PM session. Now we have a few options here on how to review the topics we do not know. You guys can go back to the same boring nursing books that you've always had and try to climb up this mountain yourself. Or you can get the condensed videos. You've probably seen a few of them on YouTube. A really big one is my EKG videos, as well as my liver song and ABGs. You guys, I have 900 videos at simplenursing.com, and if you have a membership, I would recommend taking the topics that I've taken. Really, I've condensed 3 NCLEX study guides, as well as a few other nursing books. And we really only take the need to know information and put it into the video. Because nursing school, they make you seem like you have to know everything about everything, when in reality, if you've ever seen a content review guide, usually the big brands sell them. It's really just a bullet point list of what you need to know for passing the NCLEX. If you look at your nursing books, your pharmacology, your psychiatric, your med-surg, they just stack up. And for some reason, you have a content review guide that's only this thick from one of your big brands out there. So that's what you need to know, yet nursing school gives you so much information. Now, I've put all these, what I call keywords, or basically what's in your content review, into 900 videos. And I also give it to you in a fun, easy way, acronyms for you to understand. So I'd recommend you have a list of topics from your morning AM session. What you're going to do now is you're going to go through the list of topics and match them with my videos at simplenursing.com. So Simple Nursing. And guys, I only have 300 videos on YouTube right now that are full access. We have pretty much 60, almost 70% of the videos locked right now. So simplenursing.com, you guys are going to get the list of the questions and content and topics, match them with the videos. That's only half the story. The next thing you're going to do is, if you're preparing for your finals or for your HESI, let me show you here. Let's say you're preparing for your finals, okay? You're going to cut with a piece of regular computer paper, outline the paper into 4 squares. You're reviewing, let's say it's med-surg. You're reviewing your top topics that you really struggle with. Let's say the first one's cardiac, respiratory, and neuro. And then I also leave a little box for other. What you're going to do is when you watch the videos, you're going to get the key information that you might be struggling with. For example, if you're taking a neuro test and you're taking a MS or Guillain-Barré syndrome or ALS, there's a few certain key things that I touch on. And if you're like, oh, I need to know that for the test, and usually I'll tell you that it's a big thing to know for a test or a comprehensive NCLEX or HESI, you're going to write that down into this little box here. So now we have a little filing cabinet that we're writing down the only need to know information. We're making that sword sharp. And I actually even have one of mine that I actually did in nursing school. This is how I used to study. So right here, I have head injury, ICP, ER, and triage. And I've pretty much written down the key words for ICP, SI, DI, SI, ADH, brain herniation, even drew a little stick figure there. And then I did the Glasgow Coma Scale. And I've pretty much condensed all the topics that I really struggled with that semester. And this is really how I would study for finals. Now, I also have an entire course on how to study for finals at simplenursing.com, which is amazing. Like, some of the success stories will just blow your mind. It's funny that if you're given the right tools, it'll blow your mind on how well of a student you can be. So we have over 10 courses. We're adding 2 And we have 900 videos, and we also take video requests, as well as we have a live tutor to help you. So guys, if you haven't seen Simple Nursing, or if you didn't become a member, I definitely recommend that, especially for the HESI in this content review section. Now guys, for the HESI specifically, we have outlined 3 topics. So for example, we have psychiatric, med-surg, and pharmacology. Now I recommend taking a separate piece of computer paper and dicing it into 4s and really drawing a picture of what you do not know or something you really struggle with. So for med-surg, it's usually cardiac, respiratory, and those are lungs, by the way, don't get it twisted, neuro, and then we put other here. And here's another one for pharmacology. You just dice it up like this, and endocrine is a really big one that students really struggle with. So just make sure to dice it up into 4 sections, because as you go on and see my videos and see the content review into really fine bullet points, you're going to be able to make little notes. Now the big thing to remember is do not write full sentences. Only write little bitty values, okay? So for example, if I'm talking about IV, or if I'm talking about PICC lines, I'm only making small bullet points. For example, again, I'm talking about hemodynamics. I'm writing out values. I'm also writing out pharmacology that's going to help, okay? So we're writing out values and pharm, things that you don't know. Now, we are in the process of making these 48-hour cram sheets for you guys for each section of the med-surg book, as well as pharmacology, OB-peds, and psychiatric. But guys, what you can do right now is condense the information, and really only you know what you struggle with. And an easier way to find that out is to list out the topics from the questions themselves. Alright guys, so now it's been, let's say, 7 days. Let's see our progress of where we're going to be at the end of the week. So here's the totals here. Let's say we're studying 4 to 6 days a week. How many questions are we going to be at the end of the week? We have a total of 240 to 360 questions. Now that's really darn good. And you're probably at home saying, well, our instructor says take 400 questions a day. Honestly, your instructor is probably nuts, because you should probably usually only take 60 questions per day. And I know some schools say, oh, we have to take 150 a day. Guys, we're not carpet bombing here. Usually you're going to fatigue your mind. You don't learn anything. It's almost like being in a cash machine where you're just trying to grab as much cash and you end up just dropping a lot of it. So we're being accurate at this. This is 240 to 360 sniper bullets, guys. This is questions, and we're focusing on content that we didn't know before. Not only did we do that many questions, but we're now focusing on a way to understand and get more questions right. So we have one paper with condensed most important material. And the best thing of all is that this one piece of paper is on the go. You can take it to the grocery store. You can take it to the beach. You can take it to the park with the kids. And that's one of the things that nursing students are enslaved to. You're enslaved to your books. But guys, if you follow this plan and if you do what I tell you and condense information, and the best way at condensing the information is to watch the videos that I have for you. I've spent a lot of time on them. They've really helped thousands of students. And this is one of the best ways that you can pass your HESI, pass your ATI, and even use it on your NCLEX to condense comprehensive exams. Thank you so much for watching. All we have to do is pass the test and we're done. Once again, my name is Mike Linares, and really, the party has just begun. I will see you at simplenursing.com.